welcome to Emma's ESL English. So, I teased a little bit last week that we would be talking about emails this week. Yay! What I'm going to do is split this into 3 different podcasts. So, this whole week we're looking at emails. This is going to be most useful for those of you who have to write in English for work. I have a lot of students in Turkey who are communicating with native speakers and non-native speakers in English. And this particular request came from a student who is Korean but lives in the UK. Anybody who's doing anything like that, this will hopefully be useful for you. So basically, I've split it into 3 levels. The lowest level is the people that you talk to every day. So you know them pretty well and you're talking about regular everyday stuff that you're doing at work. The second level is almost everybody else, people that you've met a few times or people that you talk to relatively regularly, maybe within your company or an outside company. And the final highest level is the people who are directors or CEOs or maybe a business that you want to connect with and you want to do business with, so you want to be extra polite to those people. And the tricky thing is getting the right level in English is a little bit more challenging than languages. Korean is a good example. With Korean, we can put an imnada on the end or a yo on the end or neither, and it's very clear this person is higher in the hierarchy or lower in the hierarchy. But in English, it's not that simple. In general, it's very common in English for us to just make the sentence much, much longer when it becomes more polite, which doesn't always work for emails. So, for example, if we were around a table and I wanted the salt or something from the other side of the table, if I was talking to my brother, I might say, give me that. Give that over there. Give me that. And that would be fine. If I was talking to somebody like a colleague at work, give me that is not very polite at all. So I might say, please, can I have that? We've added some more words. It's a little bit longer. If it was my mother-in-law, I don't have one of those, but if it was, or the boss, or somebody I don't know who I'm working with them for some other reason, super polite situation, it gets really long. I could say, sorry to bother you. Would you mind passing me that if you have a chance, please? So it's really ridiculously long. I'm saying exactly the same thing each time, but it's getting longer and longer and longer. And a lot of that vocabulary is not actually necessary for the situation. It's just our way of demonstrating our politeness. So when we convert this to emails, it can understandably seem a little frustrating. Today we're going to be looking at the beginning of an email, how to start an email. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at the middle, and then on Thursday we'll look at the end of the email. So when we start a letter, not an email, we're handwriting a letter, we have a very clear structure, and all English kids are taught this at school. We know how to write a letter. An email's a little different, but we have actually carried over a lot of the structures, the vocabulary, the way that we do things have been carried over from letters, especially at that high level of politeness. So this is most obvious when we start the letter. If we're at that high level, we often start with dear sir or dear madam. If we know their name, is better. If you're trying to talk to a high level person, maybe you want to get a job or something, try and find out what their name is. Mrs. Smith, Mr. Smith. We can also use their job title. So we can say, dear Director Smith. It's totally okay to do that. So first think about the relationship you have with the recipient, the person receiving your email. Is it your first time communicating? Have you talked several times before or emailed several times before? Or are you chatting to them on a daily basis? It's really common for those regular daily communications to have no official greeting. It's kind of like you're just continuing the conversation. So, for example, you might just get an email that has nothing but, can you send me the project file? And you might write back, I don't have it. And they might write back, okay, sorry, who does? Do you know? Jack. And that's it. There's nothing else in there. And that's really common if you're talking to people regularly, even though it's an email. It depends on your company. Some companies have a chat function somewhere, and that's what you might use in the chat function. But there's a lot of companies that don't. They're just using emails. So it's like we're having a chat, but in the email. If you get one of those emails, don't panic. It just means that person considers you to be pretty friendly and nice. The two levels above that are where it gets more confusing. So if this is the first time or a high level or important person that you're talking to, it's okay to use dear. Try and use it with their family name and some sort of thing, Mr., Miss, Mrs., Doctor, Director. If you're writing to a colleague or acquaintance that you speak to fairly regularly, but you're not close to, that's when it gets a bit more complicated. But, yay, good news! They also don't know what to say. Everyone knows this is a little bit challenging, so they don't mind if you make a mistake. The other thing is they might choose to follow your lead. So if you write to them and you say, hello, Mrs. Smith, they might write back and say, hello, Mrs. Johnson. Alternatively, you can follow their lead. So if they write to you the first time and they end their email with thanks, Jack, then you can start your next email as hello, Jack, or hi, Jack. They've already told you what level you can address them at. If they end their email with Director Smith, then you know when you start your next email, you should start with Director Smith. Whether you say Dear Director Smith or Hello Director Smith, either way, it's up to you, but you know the correct way to address them from their perspective is Director Smith. We can start with hello. Generally these days it's also okay to start with hi. Even hey is pretty common, especially in America. But definitely you don't want to be writing to your director, hey, Director Smith, like that's no. That's a hard no. It's also pretty common to start with a phrase rather than a traditional opening. So you might start with, sorry to bother you, Jane. Of course, you can say, hello, Jane, sorry to bother you. That's fine. But someone might also write to you and say, sorry to bother you, Jane. Or, Jack, I wanted to reach out, which means I wanted to get in touch with you. Or, I hope you don't mind me getting in touch, Jane. Or, how are you, Jack? So it's possible that someone's just going to start the conversation. They're not actually going to say hello or hi. They're just going to start. If they do that with you, it's totally okay for you to do the same with them. So that gives you a few options. In general, I would suggest not moving to first names until they give you the hint. So if they're still writing Director Smith at the end of their emails, then you keep writing Director Smith in your emails. But if they end their email and say Jane, or they explicitly tell you, call me Jane, then it's okay for you to say hi, Jane, and to lower the level of your email. Quick note, we only use dear when writing. If you're meeting the person face to face or you're having a video call with them, or maybe even a phone call, dear does not work. It's only for writing. You can use hello or hi to start. Both are okay. And during the conversation, you should use their name or position to refer to them. Definitely not dear. Dear is only for the beginning of a letter or email, not for any other reason. It's literally just a beginner. So if you're talking to them, maybe you could say, sorry, Director Smith, that's not possible. Or, yes, Mr. Smith, I'd be happy to help. So you can use their name like that. All right. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope that's useful. If you have any further questions about beginnings or emails in general or anything else related to English, please know you can email me, and you can start your email with Dear Emma or Hello Emma, and I'll be happy with both. Okay, you can email me at emmaseslenglish@gmail.com. And all of this vocabulary will be on the blog. So you can head to www.emmaseslenglish.com/blog and you will find it there. Okay. Remember, tomorrow we're going to look at what comes next in your email. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time. Bye.